guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different than most of my other videos that are motherhood related. Today I'm more going to be just giving you guys a story time about me as a teen mom. If you're new here or if you are here and you didn't already know, I am still considered a teen mom. I'm 19 years old. I have 2 kids, but I became a mom for the first time when I was 16 years old, and recently I got a couple questions from you guys on Instagram asking to tell my story, so I figured I would sit down and film an entire video dedicated to just sharing my story as a teen mom with you guys. So I didn't really know how I wanted to go about filming this video because there's just a lot to tell, and I also don't have the typical teen mom story that most others would have. I would say I had a really positive, good experience, but I also did have some of my own struggles, of course, that I'm going to share with you. So I figured I would just tell you from the beginning how I got pregnant all the way up until when I had my first daughter, and then into how I ended up having a second daughter when I was 19. So I'm gonna just hop into it. Like I said, there's a lot to tell, so take a seat, and if you want to hear my story of becoming a teen mom, then keep listening. So how I found out I was pregnant at 16 years old. It was December of 2016. I was in my junior year of high school. Me and Gage were dating for already a year and a half. We had met when we were 14 years old, our freshman year. So we were together a while. We were like super comfortable with each other and just really close. My family was really close with him. From the beginning of my junior year, I was having strange symptoms that I now know were pregnancy symptoms, but a little backstory or history of me. I have dealt with irregular periods since I started getting my period, so missing my period for months at a time was something that was not new to me. But towards the middle of my junior year, I did start experiencing symptoms such as like morning sickness and stuff, only the sickness would last throughout the entire day. So I was throwing up all day long. I was extremely sick. I also was like fevered. I was waking up with headaches. Obviously now I know that that was morning sickness, but one morning actually before school, I was getting ready to get on my bus and I actually passed out. I now know the reason being is because I was someone who was pretty not athletic or in sports or anything, but I exercised on my own. So I was exercising before school. I wasn't eating enough calories at the time specifically for being pregnant, and I ended up passing out before school. Told my mom about it. I ended up going into school that day because I was someone who was a very school-oriented kid. I was like straight A, AP classes. I was very shy, very nerdy. I was a band kid, so I didn't want to miss school that day. But I ended up going into school and texting my mom, telling her like, I'm really scared that that's going to happen again, because what happened was I basically fell to my knees, passed out, started shaking, got up, I felt fine, and went to school. So I texted my mom and we were talking, and basically the first question she asked me was, is there any chance that you could be pregnant? So me and my mom have always had a really great and open relationship, but at the time I hadn't told her that I was sexually active, and I did tell her that there was a chance that I could be. So we basically texted throughout the entire day, and she told me that after school that day I was going to take a pregnancy test. Keep in mind, this was in December of my junior year. It was right before Christmas break. We were planning to have like a school dance in a couple of weeks, so I went the whole school day. I told Gage about it during school. I didn't tell anyone else about it. I just kind of kept to myself, but I went the whole school day pretty nervous because in the back of my head I kind of felt like the test was going to come back positive. So I went home that day. Gage was actually already supposed to come home with me from school, so he rode my bus home. We went home together, and then my mom actually had my dad pick up a pregnancy test on the way home from work. So she had already told him. He already knew what was going on as well. Like I said, my family was very close. Throughout the whole process of finding out, I never really hid anything from them because I didn't feel a need to, and they didn't like pressure me or make me feel like I was a bad person throughout this entire process. So my dad came home from work. Me and my mom went into the bathroom, took the pregnancy test, and it instantly came back 2 dark lines. Like instant. There was no question about it. My instant reaction was basically to fall to my knees and start crying. I was extremely upset with myself. I felt disappointed in myself, and I felt like I don't know, I just felt like I had kind of ruined my life, which is the complete opposite of how my life turned out. But at the time, that's how I felt. I felt like I ruined my reputation because, like I said, I was someone who was very school oriented. I was college bound. I was like ranked 7 in my entire class, so I was prepared to go to college and become like this career woman. That was my goal, and I felt like I had just completely like shattered my entire future. Like I said, my mom was in the bathroom with me, so she started crying as well, but she just kept reassuring me that everything was going to be okay. I was asking her, how am I going to finish high school? How am I going to go to college? And she just kept telling me, I am. We stayed in the bathroom together just talking it out for probably about 30 minutes until she eventually said that we had to go out and tell my family, or my dad and Gage. So we left the room, we went into my room. At the time I had a lot of younger siblings. I have 3 younger siblings, so they kind of stayed in another room. Me, my mom, my dad, and Gage all went into my room, and we basically talked. Both of my parents were super chill, reassuring, super kind to both of us, and super supportive, which looking back I'm so thankful for, because I'm the type of person, I'm very, very hard on myself. So that was the last thing that I needed, was for someone else to be hard on me. So my parents were kind. They just reassured us that everything was going to be okay and they were going to help us get through it. We were both going to graduate, and they were kind of just happy. They said, you know, the only thing we can do is look at the bright side of this, and just look at it like there's a new baby coming into this world, which I'm so glad that they had that mindset, because they gave me that mindset and just like a positive outlook on it. And honestly, me and Gage talked, and within a day we were both kind of happy. We figured out a plan eventually. Everything just kind of worked itself out. So first thing we did obviously was make a doctor's appointment. I ended up going with my parents, and Gage came along with us. I went in there. They did like not an emergency, but like a on-the-spot ultrasound, because like I said, I had a regular period, so they wanted to make sure I was exactly as far along as I said. And it turns out that I was 17 weeks along. I was 16 weeks along when I found out, because the doctor's appointment was a few days later, or about a week later. So I was 17 weeks along. Honestly, at this point, a week later, after hearing the heartbeat and seeing the baby on the ultrasound, bigger than I expected she was gonna be, I was kind of getting happy about it, and starting to plan things in my head and starting to plan my future, which sounds crazy. But I didn't have like that disappointment feeling after that first week. So like I said, this was about Christmas time. We were about to go on Christmas break. So I did end up going back to school. But my plan was to cyber school, because my state had a program where I could basically cyber school. And I was able to talk to some of the counselors and the school directors, and they made it possible so that I was going to be able to finish out my junior year and my senior year within the rest half of my junior year. Gage was actually just going to stay in school and finish his out entirely, but I really wanted to finish mine early because I was due in May, and I wanted to be able to stay home with her when she was born. I didn't want anyone else raising her. I didn't want to put her in a daycare or anything, so it was my goal to finish out high school early and be able to stay with her. So basically from December through May, I worked on school, cyber school, about 10 hours a day, because I was really determined to finish out school in time for graduation. I ended up graduating a little bit into the summer, which was fine. They allowed me to do that. Like I said, Gage was still in school. He was kind of back and forth between his house, he was living with his dad at the time, and my house. My parents were letting him like come back and forth just because they wanted him to be there with me throughout my pregnancy, because I was getting towards the end of my pregnancy, of course, and they just wanted me to have his support, because obviously my mom had 4 kids and she just knew that it was necessary for him to be there. So he was working on school, I was working on school, and we were just doing our best to do what we needed to do for our daughter. We found out that she was a girl in January, so only a month after I found out I was pregnant, and then we had our baby shower, and we just did all the fun pregnancy things, made it as special as possible. We did all of the pregnancy things. We tried to make it as normal as possible. I had a baby shower, I posted pictures, I took pictures, I didn't let myself feel ashamed, and I never did feel ashamed about it. I didn't ever look at myself like I'm a teen mom. I just kind of looked at myself like I'm a mom. Yes, I got stares in public, or at least I felt like I did, but I never got any mean comments from anyone. I never got any remarks. No one was ever really rude to me. I kept my circle very small with the supportive people in my life. We told the rest of my family, my grandparents, everyone was super supportive and super happy for me, which honestly made my experience great. But May came around and Sophia was born, my first daughter. She was born on May 10th, so her birthday actually just passed. She's 3 years old now, but she was born May 10th at 9:32 in the morning after I was induced. I had an 11.5-hour labor, a failed epidural later, and there she was. So she was born, and honestly, instinctively, I just knew what to do, and I was extremely happy and excited to become a mother. Gage was an amazing father. Once she was born, our living situation became a little bit different. Gage pretty much moved in with my family full-time, and I'm very thankful that they did that because I didn't have to raise Sophia on my own, although he was working along with school. So he would wake up for school at about 6 a.m., go into school until 3:30, and then he would come home, change for work, and then go straight to work. So I was with Sophia from the time that he left for school, which was about 6:30 in the morning, to the time that he got home from work at night, which was like 11 p.m. Summer did come around right after she was born, so I did, he was working about 5 or 6 days a week for 8 hours, so I did have more time with him over the summer. But when Sophia hit about 4 months old, he was in school for full-time and he was working, so I kind of was not raising Sophia by myself because he did help me at night and he was supporting her, but I was home alone a lot. And of course I had my mom. My dad was working, but my mom was actually a stay-at-home mom at the time too. So I had her with me and we kind of just tag teamed everything, and I'm really thankful for that. Gage and I lived with them for an entire year, but of course he was working the entire year. He was supporting her, and we were honestly the entire time trying to figure out a goal in a way to move out of my parents' house by the time we were 18. So Gage graduated 1 year after Sophia was born, so we had a 1-year-old. She was at his graduation. I can pop up some pictures here too because I have a ton of pictures of her at his graduation, all of us celebrating. I had graduated already the year prior. Like I said, I got my diploma. So after he graduated, it was kind of like a turning point in our life, and we felt extremely relieved at this point that we had gotten through all of that because it was a lot of work. I did have a great support system. I'm thankful that my parents let Gage come live with us. I'm thankful that my mom was home with me to help with Sophia. But I felt at that point when Gage graduated and summer was rolling in and Sophia was a year old that our life was kind of about to get really started. We'd gotten through like the hardest part of what our life was about to be. So that summer after Sophia turned a year old, I turned 18, Gage was already 18, and we decided we wanted to move out. He had gotten a new full-time job detailing cars, so he was getting paid a bit more than his previous job, and we were saving money and just figuring out how we were going to move out. He was actually in a position where he was trying to get a position for USPS. So he was in training, he was taking a bunch of tests. If you don't know what USPS is, that's just the United States Postal Service. So he was trying to get a job there because all you need to work for USPS is a high school diploma, which he had. So he felt that that would be a great career opportunity for him and for our family. So he was working hard to get into there, and eventually by the end of the summer, it was actually August 12th of 2018 to be exact, we moved into this house that we are in right now. So this house is actually owned by my grandparents, but we rent it from them. We pay all of our own bills, so we don't really have any help financially. We are financially stable at this point, and even when we moved in, and we wanted to make sure of that. We didn't want anyone to be helping us. We didn't want to be in a position where we felt like we owed anyone anything, so we saved our money, and we moved into this house. We had about $2,000 to our name that we were able to throw this house together because it was really old and there was a lot of old furniture. It was needed fresh paint. It was just a really old home, so we redid basically the entire house on a budget for $2,000 and we moved in. Once we moved into this house and we were financially stable and we felt really comfortable in the place that we were at, we did know that we wanted more babies at this point, and we decided actually a month after we moved into this house that we wanted to have another baby, which I know sounds like probably really soon for you guys, but we knew that we wanted kids close in age, and just because we were young didn't mean that we wanted to spread them out anymore, wait for a future, because there was no point in waiting for a future. Our life had already started and already happened, so we were just going to continue it. Our life started early, but that didn't mean that I had to wait 10 more years to start over. I was ready to start it, so we decided we wanted to get pregnant. We got pregnant on our first try in September of 2018, and in November I ended up miscarrying. So I miscarried our second baby. It was a really emotional and scary and heartbreaking time for me. Probably one of the worst things I've ever experienced in my life, because again, I was a mother. I had a daughter already, and I knew that I loved being a mom, so my heart broke into pieces. But after that miscarriage was over, after I was healed up, we decided we were just gonna go ahead and try again. So it was January of 2019 that we decided to try again, and again we got pregnant in 1 month, and that is how we got pregnant with our second daughter, who is my daughter Mila. She's currently 7 months old, but we got pregnant with her when Sophia was 21 months at the time. So they're 2.5 years apart. I was pregnant with her the entire time I was 18. I turned 19 in August, and then we had her in October. So that kind of leads us to where we are right now. So currently, I'm still a stay-at-home mom to a 3-year-old and a 7-month-old little girl. Gage works full-time for the United States Postal Service. I stay home with the girls, and that's just currently where we are. We're 19 and 20 with 2 kids, our own house. We're actually saving money and planning to move within the next couple of years. We're financially stable, I would say, comfortable. I do social media on the side, and Gage works to support our family, and we're really happy. But yeah, that was kind of like a quick wrap-up story time of my story as a teen mom, how I found out I was pregnant, and just to where I am now as a teen mom, 19 years old with 2 kids. It sounds a little bit crazy. There's so much more detail. We worked really hard to get where we are, and I am super, super proud of us. I know that we had better circumstances than maybe some other teen moms have. A lot of them don't have the support that they need, and I feel like that's the #1 thing that you can give to someone that is in the position that I was. Just give them your support. Anyone who's pregnant, whether you're 16 or 32, needs support. So you're all going through the same emotions, you're all going through the same thing, and although you're young or you're older, you still are dealing with the pregnancy hormones, you still are dealing with becoming a mother and going through all of the same exact phases, and it really makes no difference how young you are, old you are. It's just the stages of life that you're in. Yes, as a teen mom, you have to work a little extra harder, or a lot extra hard, because you want to graduate. You want to make sure that you have the best future possible for your babies. You want to make sure that you're in a financial stability space to be able to provide for your babies. I'm really thankful for all of your guys' support too. I know a lot of you probably don't know how young I am. It's not something that I really talk about on my channel, because I just feel like my story is a little different, and I don't really have like a typical teen mom story. I'm just a mom in my book. I stay home with my kids. I take care of them just like anyone else. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give me a thumbs up. I'm so thankful for all of your support on this channel. I did ask you guys a couple of questions over on Instagram, and I think I covered them throughout this video. So if you have any more, let me know down in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them, because I am really open about my story and I have no shame in it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys got to know a little bit more about me, a little bit more about my story, and I let you into like my personal life, my past, and I just feel like we're a little bit more connected and we know a lot more about me now. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.